My mind was a battlefield with tragedy on both sides. Do I stay and continue the comfort of life as I know it? Will I continue to disrespect myself? Do I leave and risk it all, risk not being able to make it on my own, but maybe I'll find freedom? This decision would alter the rest of my life, but left to myself, I couldn't choose. The battle just raged on. Do you know what finally gave me the clarity and the confidence to make a choice and stick to it? It was a simple conversation with my friend Sarah, sipping tea at my kitchen table. She said to me, "I've decided to leave my husband. We love each other so much, but we just can't make it work." I had no idea they were having problems of this magnitude. This was exactly my dilemma. We love each other so much, but we just can't make it work. If my friend who's married and has children could find the courage to leave, I could do that too, right? And I did. This conversation was a catalyst to my journey to peace, freedom, and self-worth. 6 months later, Worthy TV was born. I wanted to create a platform for people to have a larger conversation with each other on topics that matter, topics that we tend to keep to ourselves and hide in the privacy of our hearts and minds. Conversations that, when shared openly, courageously, allow us to transfer that courage to others and allow them to make decisions to honor their peace, freedom, and self-worth. Toastmasters and guests, welcome to the 1-year anniversary of Worthy TV. Tonight, we are going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to call up a co-host so we can go behind the scenes of all things Worthy. Please help me welcome my very worthy co-host, Jose Rivera.
Thank you, Jessica. I feel honored to be the co-host of the first anniversary of Worthy TV. And right now, I have a couple questions that will help the audience to know more about Worthy TV. So my first question is, tell me more about what you discuss on Worthy TV.
Worthy TV serves an audience who struggles to make decisions because they're constantly second-guessing themselves, very much like I was doing in that relationship. If you've been in a situation where you're unhappy in your relationship or maybe even your career, you might feel a lot of pressure to make a decision because a lot of times we only see two options, to leave or to stay, and perhaps neither of those feels good. There's actually a lot of self-work and inner work that we can do to inform that decision. Worthy TV is a platform to share simple strategies and techniques where we can receive that kind of clarity. Courageous communication is a big topic. Before I was able to leave that relationship, we had to have a lot of really, really hard conversations. I had to get very honest with myself in order to express my needs to my partner. Lately, we've also been talking a lot about our relationship with food, because that's one area where I think people get very confused and overwhelmed about all the choices, because there's so much information out there, right? Has anyone ever felt like there's so much I don't know what I should be eating? Yeah, absolutely. I like to share strategies to start listening to our bodies and tap into that inner wisdom to inform our decisions, which is leading up to a webinar I'm actually doing tonight about how to manage emotional eating to meet our health goals. Whatever the topic on Worthy TV, the idea is to open up our awareness to what we can be doing differently in our lives and provide really simple, easy to implement strategies so we can start seeing results right away and move toward a worthy way of living.
Now, can you give me an example of a lesson or a practice you share in Worthy TV?
Absolutely. One of my favorite practices is inventorying my relationships. What I would recommend doing is making a list of the top 5, maybe 10 people that you spend the most time with in your day. When you are with these people, start to bring some awareness to how you're feeling when you're with them and how you're feeling after you end your time with them. This is so important because the people we are with will either add to our energy or subtract from it. It's just like the foods that we eat. Some foods will give us more energy and some will bring us down and leave us laying on the couch with our pants unbuttoned. If you have goals for yourself, it's really important to make sure the people you're spending your time with are giving you the energy to help you get there. When I was in that relationship I was talking about earlier, when I finally left, I had a lot of time alone. I was very lonely. It was me, puzzles, my cats, and Ed Sheeran, and a tissue box. It was really important for me to be around people that would make me laugh. When my friend Donna, who's not here tonight, when she invited me to her premiere stand-up comedy event, it was a heck yes, I'm there. But this exercise can also inform you of some people you might need to release from your life, or at least change the dynamic in which you spend time with them. For example, I had a client who was in a relationship with someone that her parents did not approve of. Every time she would see her parents, it was apparent how they were treating her differently. They were not accepting of her partner, and it just left her feeling heartbroken. She felt like an outcast in her own family. Eventually, she realized that she was no longer willing to be treated that way, to be disrespected that way, and she made the really tough decision to break up with her parents. It can lead to some really tough choices, but the more that you practice this and the more you cultivate self-respect, the easier it becomes to make choices that really honor what you deserve.
Thank you. Now I have in my hands this wonderful book, the Worthy Woman Handbook. I really read it, and let me tell you something. That is a 5-star book. It's a Worthy Woman Handbook, but if you are a man, that was an amazing option as well, because you want to know how to love yourself more, that is the book, guys. So having this book in my hand, how do you relate the book with Worthy TV?
Great question. You'll find a lot of the same content, everything that I just shared and more, you'll find it in Worthy TV and the book. The difference really is how that information will be absorbed by you and how you integrate it, because I think it's important to find different ways to integrate lessons and material into our lives so that it really sticks. The great thing about the book is it's creating a safe space with you and yourself, which is really the most important relationship. It's providing a safe environment for you to get honest about where you are in your life, what's going well, what's not going so well, and what to do about it. It's a great accountability partner too, because there's actually space in the book, for example, to inventory your relationships. And it's guiding you through decisions to make and simple actions to take so you can start moving forward right now. Worthy TV will help you integrate the information in a bit of a different way. The platform is different in that it's a conversation with more people. Right now, Worthy TV is a weekly video series on Instagram and Facebook with new episodes every Tuesday. You might see people commenting and sharing their experiences. For example, I did a video recently about how when there is free food, everybody goes crazy. Does anyone work in an office where there's snacks, free donuts, pizza all the time? Suddenly we all go nuts and we're eating foods that are possibly sabotaging our health goals. So when I shared that, a lot of people were saying, yes, oh my gosh, I struggle with this. Here's the thing. When you hear somebody say, I have the same experience, yes, I can relate to that, suddenly you realize you are not alone. You are normal, you are validated, you are okay. As opposed to when you think you are alone, it's very isolating and it's easy to get trapped in feeling like you're a victim. But Worthy TV is creating a community where people are saying, hey, I've been there. And now that can elevate us to a position where we can make positive change in our lives.
Thank you. So right now, I think we have a couple minutes. So if anybody in the audience wants to ask a question to Jessica, that is the time. John.
Yes.
What made you decide to write a book?
Ooh, that's a great question. It was something that, honestly, other people had told me for a long time that I should write a book, and I thought, you know what? It would be really cool to do that one day. I love to read. I grew up in the library. I've always been around books. And then one day I thought, what if that someday was today? What if that day was right now? And so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. It's something I've never done before, but I'm going to figure it out. It just, honestly, as soon as I made that decision, it just started coming to me. And it actually became the easiest thing that I've ever done. And to relate that back to what I was saying about inventorying your relationships and choosing the people you spend your time with, I surrounded myself with 2 other women who were also aspiring to write and publish their first books, and that made a huge difference in keeping me focused and making that time for it. So it's just another way for me to share my message with the world, and it just felt like the next step. Thank you. I think Jerry was next.
What books are you reading, and what books have you read that have influenced you?
Ooh, gosh, there are so many. I would say Mike Dooley, who is the leader of TUT, The Universe Talks. He was one of the first influencers, one of the first people who really opened my mind to personal growth and just approaching my life in a different way and believing that anything I want for myself is possible. He talks a lot about the law of attraction as well. So anything by Mike Dooley. Right now I'm reading Worthy by Nancy Levin, which of course is appropriate for me. And she talks about how our net worth is associated with our self-worth. So if you want to elevate your bank account, for instance, you really have to believe that you deserve that money. Yes, Brian?
What would you say the single best thing you have done to improve yourself?
The best thing I've done to improve myself, I would say asking better questions. Just asking questions, questioning the status quo of myself and my life. Because we get so accustomed to going through the motions and the behaviors of everyday life, we have to start waking up. 95% of our behaviors, our thoughts, our actions are unconscious. We're just doing things without even thinking about it. And that's a really hard battle to fight. But if we start to ask questions, why am I doing this? How did I get here? How can I do this differently? Then that is going to guide us toward creating new behaviors, new thoughts that support where we want to go. Excuse me. And that's a practice that I've incorporated every single day for probably at least the past 5 years when I had my grand awakening. John?
Was writing the book harder than you thought?
It was actually easier than I thought. This is a story I love to share because I think a lot of times we have this false belief that to accomplish something takes a lot of hard work, and I'm not trying to say I didn't put hard work into it, but I think because I had done so much inner work over the years, I got to a point where I believed it was possible for myself. I was so committed, I was so focused, and it just came out of me. And what's really awesome is that any time in my life I've had a big project to work on, even if it's planning a vacation. I remember when I was planning to go to Switzerland, it was overwhelming. A lot of times when we approach a new project, we feel overwhelmed because we're expecting ourselves to have it all figured out right away, especially if it's something new and there's a learning curve. It's very easy to be impatient with ourselves and to get frustrated. But somehow, with everything that I had learned along the way, every new step along the way that I had to learn, every new process, I was just so grateful to be there that I hardly experienced any overwhelm at all. Gratitude goes a long way with anything and everything. Gratitude, that's probably, to answer Brian's question again, another practice I would say that was transformational and continues to be. Brent?
So you are a very effective communicator, obviously via spoken word, but also I can say, I haven't finished this book, but I've started reading it, and you're very effective in the way that you write. Which do you enjoy writing more or speaking more? And also, which one do you feel that you're more effective at as far as getting your message out?
There's definitely things I enjoy about both of them. I think what I enjoy about speaking is the interaction, the engagement. I like seeing faces. I like having conversations. I like listening and hearing about other people's experiences. Communication's a two-way street. So with the book, I can share my thoughts, and a lot of it is based on communication and conversations I've had with other people. But unless somebody gives me feedback about it, I don't know what it's doing. Now, I'm looking forward to receiving more of that feedback, but I think what's great about speaking is that you're getting it right away. I love the interaction because I think sharing experiences with other human beings is my favorite part of being alive. It just goes back to helping all of us realize we're not alone, we're all in this together. Together we can figure it out. One last question, Cheryl?
How do you partake in Worthy TV?
How do you partake as in how do you participate?
Sure, participate or watch or...
Great question, thank you for asking. Worthy TV is on Facebook and Instagram, so you can find me at Jessica Juliano Coaching. Every Tuesday, new episodes are released. You can go back and go through the archives. There's over 40 episodes right now. I started it about a year ago, so there's a lot of content on there. And you're welcome to watch all the videos and share your comments and share your feedback and see what other people have shared. Well, thank you so much for joining me for the anniversary of Worthy TV, conversations that cultivate compassion and courage. I invite you all to check it out and participate, and let me know what topics you would like to hear about. If there's any decisions that you've been struggling with, or any place where you just want to feel more supported in your life, Worthy TV is here for you. I'll see you next Tuesday for the next episode of Worthy TV.